just a perfect day.
Dear Heavenly Father, we thank Thee for Thy food, and help us to do our part with kind words and loving deeds.
Amen.
Amen. It gets dark, we go home.
How you doing? How's your parents? I'm Lee. That's Mike. We're gonna review a movie today.
About a movie about a dinner party that goes terribly wrong. It's called You're Next.
We're going back in time and reviewing You're Next from 2013. You're Next is directed by Adam Wingard, who's a nice man. He's a horror director. He directed a movie about a family who has a dinner party, and then a bunch of people in nice animal masks show up and start killing them. And that's the movie.
We should probably note at the very beginning that this movie is meant to be satire.
This movie is satire. It is a black comedy horror film.
It's like a much more subtle version of Cabin in the Woods.
Much more subtle. It's more along the lines of Scream, I think.
Yeah, that's probably right.
But less in your face. It's very subtle, and it's more about exposing and subverting horror tropes than it is actually bursting the genre wide open. But it's a satire on home invasion films, and it's fun. It's a good time. I'm gonna a little bit of backstory. We saw this movie in theaters when it came out,
and if you guys remember the marketing for this movie, they just made it look like a horror movie.
It wasn't good, and we really went in expecting it to be a serious film. So when we left, we kind of were going, "What the fuck was that?"
Well, we didn't realize it was the satire is so subtle. We didn't realize it until about halfway through the movie.
By the time we realized what it was trying to do, the movie was over. And so it really fucked up our viewing experience the first time around. And I didn't see this movie again until about 2 or 3 weeks ago.
I've watched this movie probably 20 times.
It's a fun time. It's a really, really good movie, guys.
Yeah, it is. It's knowing it's satire, which is the key point here. Do not watch this expecting a very serious horror movie. There are elements of it that are good as far as horror goes.
Watch it for what it is. It's a black comedy, and it's a spoof on the home invasion genre.
And some of the kills are fucking gnarly.
It's gory, and it's fun, and it's a family dramedy mixed with a horror film, and it's really funny.
It's really good.
There's there were one or two prosthetics that I was not a big fan of.
Or even the blood in the beginning, it looks like fucking jelly.
Yeah.
It's intentional.
Larry Fessenden's in it. That's pretty cool. Right off the bat, the acting is pretty good. It's over the top, and it's meant to be over the top, so I think it works pretty well.
And some of it's meant to be incredibly forced too.
Exactly, and so for the most part, it works. Again, for what it's trying to do, this movie does a really good job.
Definitely.
The acting is pretty good. The directing is, for the most part, pretty standard, but
it's pretty hard to say though for this, just because again, some of it is supposed to be bad.
There are some shots that are definitely paying homage to old school slasher films. There's a shot that is right out of Friday the 13th Part 3, I think.
There's another shot that is just mimicking the axe scene from The Shining almost.
Yeah, there's some really
there's a lot of good homages.
There are some really good homages to other films, and I think this movie is kind of a love letter to those things, and it works pretty well. It takes something like The Strangers and it makes it fun. There's some shots in it that are gorgeous, I will say that much. There are some shots that I absolutely love. It's a really interesting blend of modern horror and 80s, where they took it back. They took the slasher genre back, and they mixed the slasher genre with modern day
And there's one part of the score that I know what you're talking about.
Really great 80s synthy score that comes
just
in.
Out of nowhere. The whole movie's score is pretty basic, and then you just have straight up something 80s horror.
80s electronica, horror music.
Great.
It's perfect. It really works well, and it's such a fun time. This is a fun movie. I can't even stress
it is technically horror, but it is just a lot of fun.
I wouldn't even call it horror. I call it more like a black comedy. It's more along the lines of Evil Dead than it is.
Okay, but I would call Evil Dead horror too.
The original?
Yeah, it's still technically horror.
It's meant to be horror, but it
can be funny.
Well, that's true. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a fun movie. It's a very fun movie, and if you're going into this, you're either going to
love it or hate it. There's no middle.
Love it or hate it. It's one of those movies where if you can't appreciate what they're trying to do, you're not going to like this movie. If you're not a fan of the cheesy home invasion slasher movies of the 80s and 70s, etc., you're probably not going to be a fan of this movie.
Well, that being said, I'm not huge on slashers or anything of that sort, but I love this movie.
You like what it's I'm saying you appreciate what it's trying to do.
Oh, well, I fucking love satire.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. If you can If you can appreciate the satirical nature of this movie, you're going to love it. If you can't, you're probably going to hate it.
Although, even if you can't appreciate it, it's still funny. Like, it's so bad that it's funny.
It's a good... There are some really, really, really funny
even when we
moments.
were in the theater, not realizing it was satire, we were laughing our asses off at it.
That's true. That is true.
Like, it was funny as hell.
It's either unintentional comedy or intentional comedy, and this movie balances it in a way that you really can't tell some of the time, because a lot of it doesn't exactly seem intentional, but it's absolutely intentional.
And it's just real. Like, some of the lines, like in the beginning when they're first entering the home, we have to get out of here. No,
I'm going upstairs to look. You get outside. I think
in that scene the word upstairs was said like 9 times.
Maybe, I don't even know.
Like, it's so forced, but it's done purposefully.
People are dying and screaming, and they're arguing over who is like the fastest runner. It's
one girl breaks down crying because nobody ever believes in her.
It's just
like
it's silly great. And over the top, and it works really well for what this film is trying to do, which is mix a home invasion movie with a family drama, and somehow Adam Wingard did it in a way that worked, and it was really entertaining.
Also, very strong female lead.
Very strong female lead, yes. She subverts just about every trope there is regarding final girls, and it's hysterical when it happens. It's one of the funniest scenes, and it's actually, I would dare say that scene is iconic. For anybody who's seen this movie, I would call that scene the meat cleaver scene, or the meat tenderizer scene.
Oh, yes.
I would actually call that scene iconic, because anybody who's seen that movie remembers that scene.
Oh, because that's also just a fucking brutal kill.
So funny.
It's hysterical. It's also funny. Like, Jesus Christ. That's...
Spoiler alert. She beats one of the intruders to death with a meat tenderizer the second he enters the home. Yep. It's beautiful.
She kicks him in the dick, takes out his knee, and then just slams him in the back of the head like 12 times.
Just crushes his skull with a meat tenderizer. It's hysterical. It's one of the funniest scenes.
Also, this is when you first realize that she's actually like not just some girl. She's like a really strong character.
Exactly.
So it's completely out of the blue.
No, it's just a really fun movie. The humor is all pretty much like that. It's really just, it's all based around taking horror tropes that you know and maybe you're sick of and subverting them in ways that are really entertaining and really unexpected. So, yeah, I think your next is a really good time, especially if you're a fan of like the home invasion genre, the slashers of the 80s. It's a decent movie. It's a silly movie. I would probably give it a B.
I'd give it an A, dude. I fucking love this
movie. You really
movie.
Give it an A?
Like I said, I've seen this movie probably 20 times. I think this is one of my favorite, not even just horror movies. This is one of my favorite movies.
It's not like substantial enough for me to give it an A, I don't think.
It's only like an hour and 25 minutes long.
I don't know, no, but I'm saying there's no real like substance to it that I'd be like, this is an A movie.
But it's such a good time that I have to give it an A. Like, again,
that's fair enough.
It's just funny as hell. It's done really well. It's not substantial enough for me to give it an A+ by any means, but an A, definitely.
Okay, that's a fair point. So yeah, A, B. It's a good one. Go see it, guys, if you haven't seen it. It's been out for years. It's on Netflix, I'm pretty sure.
It's not.
It was.
Was it?
It was for a while.
Well, check if it's on Netflix.
Check if it's on Netflix. It might be on Netflix. If it is, watch it. It's a decent time. We've got some cool other stuff coming up soon. So, yeah, we're going to be reviewing The Conjuring in Part 2 and Bite and other things. If you like this and you like us and our faces and our chemistry, you should like and comment and subscribe, and then you like, comment, subscribe. And tell your friends and
check out our Facebook.
Check out our Facebook.
We post everything there as soon as we post it, so you can keep up to date.
I think I'm gonna make a Twitter.
Are you gonna make a Twitter?
I'll try and make a Twitter like this week. Look at my nice black Phillip shirt.
Oh Christ!
Look at it. It's so cool, isn't it?